With UB40 as we welcome Rekha Basu to the desk. It is time for Rekha's Voice to find out what's on her mind this morning.
Well, good morning. It's good to see you. I am very impressed by how you tolerated those hot peppers, I must say.
That was interesting. The Carolina Reaper pepper, we ate that earlier today, and it was like molten lava in your mouth is what it felt like, going all the way. But the pain went away rather quickly.
Was there a pleasurable sensation?
Yes, there was.
That followed?
Actually, there was.
Really?
There really was, or I would not be doing that. But and then Chuck mentioned these things get big enough in India where they are almost like trees.
That's amazing. Yeah. I need to try one. I would like to compete with you, actually.
You like I'd love to see
I love hot things. I love hot food. Yeah, because oh my God, that's it.
There they are, right there.
Oh
so
my
at
gosh.
the end of your, we're not going to have you look at it.
I'm not going to do it on television.
We'll let you take one home with you.
Derail the conversation.
Okay, we'll let you take one home.
Thank you. Oh, that's cool.
Okay, we'll let you take one home. So what are we talking about this morning?
So what I'm talking about today is it's kind of a slice of life column about a community that's very tiny, and it's mental health problems actually. And these are immigrants or refugees rather from the Himalayan kingdom nation of Bhutan, which is sandwiched up between China and India.
Okay.
And it's the one, and this is very ironic. Bhutan back in the 1970s declared a happiness index. I don't know if you remember this, but it decided that instead of GDP, it was going to measure its well-being by how happy people were, according to a scale of, this and that in terms of personal well-being. But the big irony here is the following decade, they imposed this very strict cultural conformity law, and so everybody had to dress and speak the same language. And there was this immigrant community that had roots going back to the 1860s in Bhutan, and their origins were in Nepal. They were actually Nepali ethnically. They were all ejected from the country.
Oh.
So a number of them ended up in refugee camps for 2 decades, for 20 years, before the United Nations came and relocated them on a permanent basis to the United States primarily. 75,000 of them have come to the U.S. since 2007, 2008. And this past weekend, they had a national convention of their association, the Association of Bhutanese in America, in West Des Moines. At the West Des Moines Community Center. And part of the reason for that is that there is a community of expat or refugee Bhutanese living here in Des Moines, about 800 of them, or is it, no, sorry, 800, 8,000, I don't remember how many, but not a very large number of people. But they're, 800. And they've actually been doing better in Iowa than in the rest of the country, but they have, sadly, the highest suicide rate in the United States of any group. So 20 people per 100,000 population are ending their own lives. And it's a really complicated situation because everybody suffers from depression. I think in America the rate is 25% or something, or 1 in 5 people suffers from depression at some point or other. But for this population, not only have they been relocated and kind of divorced from everything that they know, their loved ones, their extended family network, jobs, a lot of them are unemployed, but also there is this strong belief in spirits and in ghosts and in the ancestors coming back and sort of haunting you, and in karma, which means you kind of reap what you sow. What you did in a previous life maybe may come back to affect you and make you unhappy. So when they start experiencing problems, they think it's payback for something, and they think they're being punished, and so they just have to surrender and go, a lot of them, which means ending their lives. And this speaker came from the U.S. Office of Refugee Resettlement in Washington to talk, and he's also of similar ethnic origin. So he spoke to the community. It's a little ironic. I was invited to cover the convention, and I went there to see what was up, but they were speaking in Nepali. I mean, there was no interpreter.
But you were there.
So I was there,
you were there,
exactly. But then I had to corral someone who is a very fluent English speaker from the community who sat next to me and whispered in my ear about what was going on. So this speaker was imploring the community to reach out and talk about depression, which is, there's a big stigma around that. You don't discuss mental health issues. You don't discuss depression in some of these cultures, and you don't go see therapists because that's a sign that you're really sick. So the things that we do normally, medicate or go do talk therapies when we're depressed, do not fly over there. They might turn to substance abuse, but basically what he was recommending is develop stronger community connections so that you don't get isolated. And also, he was urging a kind of a media impact that where you show stories of success, of people succeeding in this environment and being able to overcome this sadness and this fear of the ghosts and the spirits and karma and all of that. So that was his solution, more of a community.
In hopes that would encourage people to do the same.
Exactly. But some of the stories that he shared were so sad. There was one 26-year-old woman whose husband had died, and she had these little kids to raise by herself, and she just was overwhelmed by the pressures of making money and also taking care of them. So she ended her life. And then there was a man whose son, traditionally in a lot of Asian families, generations live together under the same roof. So when a boy gets married, he brings his bride to live in the household with the parents, and the parents are then taken care of by the younger couple as they age. Well, this young man decided to leave with his wife once he got married, which, you know, he's in America. That's what you do.
Right.
And the father was so overwhelmed with grief because he was illiterate. He and his wife were both illiterate. They couldn't drive. They didn't have jobs. They were homebound, and the son was their main connection to society, so he ended up taking his own life.
Do they think that
so
by
sad.
doing that they improve? Is it a reincarnation thing, or?
It's sort of, yeah, but it's also, it's more that, you know, this is your fate. This is the past lives have driven you to this point, and so there's really no alternative. Your life has been predetermined, preordained, and if you're suffering this kind of intense sorrow, then, you know, you have no choice but to end your life because it's not going to get better. It's not going to get better. So how do you instill hope in people like that? And some of it was very intriguing. Some of the remedies that were suggested are such simple ones, like a community gardening project, taking up crafts, you know, dance forms, musical forms that are common to the culture, so that you feel still some sense of connection to your cultural heritage, and you form community as a result of that.
Just occupying your time with positive stimuli.
And things that connect you to your homeland in positive ways. So it, you know, for me, it was a chance to really reflect on how do we in this culture react when we're sad, when we all get sad when we've suffered a loss, or we've lost a job, or we have to move, or, you know, something goes wrong in a family relationship. But I think that we tend to respond in ways that deal much more with therapeutic responses, whereas in this culture, they're just saying community connectedness.
So that's
culture.
an idea that can cross many
That
borders.
could, absolutely, and so I'm actually recommending that.
There you go.
For
And that's
everyone.
in today's
That's
column.
in today's column, exactly.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It is 8:51. We'll be right back. You're watching Great Day Live on KCWI.